Individual rivalries are an important aspect of sports. When looking at the history of some of the greatest athletes, the personal one-on-one battle they must overcome can often propel them to greater heights. Just imagine some of sports' most iconic moments where two great athletes go toe-to-toe. These are the games that live in our memory and will forever hold a special place. And in the 2006 AFC Championship Game, two of the game's brightest stars would meet for the upteenth time. The rivalry of Tom Brady Peyton Manning was one that was very lopsided at first, but then became competitive afterwards after Peyton finally broke his duck in 2005. For a long period of time early in their careers, these two QBs were often in the discussion as amongst the greatest quarterbacks to have ever played in the NFL. And while Tom has since pretty much ended the GOAT discussion, winning 3 of his 7 championships since Manning's retirement, the careers of both quarterbacks will forever be intertwined.
Billy Martin, straight from Brooklyn, better known as Brooklyn. Never taking shorts cause Brooklyn's the bomb.
Leading up to the championship game, Peyton had won the last 2 meetings after Tom had won the first 6 contests that included the 03 Conference Championship and the 04 Divisional Game. This was a difficult period for Peyton Manning because for all his regular season success, he was early in his career labeled as a choker, someone who couldn't get the job done when it mattered most. Brady had already won 3 Super Bowls while Peyton struggled with early playoff exits, and critics would always point out to the 03 and 04 campaign when Peyton failed to deliver in the postseason. Manning won consecutive league MVPs and led the Colts to a 12-4 record, but losing out to your arch rival on both occasions, the media was unforgiving. Even in the following season, the Colts were the #1 team in the NFL with a 14-2 record and had home field advantage throughout the playoffs. But a humiliating loss in the divisional round to the Pittsburgh Steelers had many fans wonder if Peyton would ever get the job done. So around that time in 2006, there was a ton of pressure surrounding Peyton Manning. Leading up to the championship game, the Indianapolis Colts were 3-point home favorites over the New England Patriots. And along the way, Indianapolis got by the Kansas City Chiefs in the wildcard round, which set up a stern matchup against the Baltimore Ravens the week after. The Colts went into this game as an away team underdog, but managed to come out victorious in a real defensive battle. The 12-4 Patriots, on the other hand, blew by the New York Giants in the wildcard round, and a fortunate Marlon McCree fumble saw the Pats get by the Chargers. So the game kicked off with the Patriots taking the early lead. After both teams exchanged punts, New England got on the scoreboard after on 4th and inches, Bill Belichick's early gamble paid off after Corey Dillon found a huge opening on the right and proceeded to rush the ball for 35 yards to the Colts' 13. From there, Lawrence Maroney rushed the ball for 9 yards, and on the very next play, Tom Brady's handoff to his running back was fumbled and ended up being recovered in the end zone by Logan Mankins, giving the away team the early lead. On the Colts' next possession, Peyton was able to get the offense rolling. First, he connected with Reggie Wayne for a 13-yard pass, and then a nice snag from Dallas Clark saw the Colts get to the Patriots' 36. However, later in the drive, a 10-yard holding call would set Manning and company back and having to ultimately settle for the 3 points. With the first quarter coming to a close, the Patriots' offense continued to push forward. On 2nd and 5, Maroney made a nice move to avoid Marlon Jackson and proceeded to rush for the first down. Later from the Colts' 34, Belichick elected to go for it on 4th and 6 rather than going for the long field goal. On the ensuing play, Tom, after facing an all-out blitz, connected with Troy Brown down the middle, who ran the ball for a gain of 27 yards, which set up Corey Dillon's 7-yard TD run, giving the Patriots a 14-3 lead early in the second quarter. The Colts defense looked very suspect up until this point, as New England for the most part were pushing the ball up ahead uncontested. They already converted on 2 third and 4th down plays. So with the home team now trailing by 11, things actually went from bad to worse, as in a span of only 2 minutes, the Colts let up 2 touchdowns. On the very next possession from 2nd down, Manning threw a pass intended for Marvin Harrison that was undercut by Asante Samuels, who ran it in for a pick 6. And this was just a huge psychological blow for Indianapolis, and you could see Payne as he was jogging off the field really disappointed. Manning's struggles would continue on the next drive as he suffered back-to-back sacks and went 3 and out. However, later right before the end of the first half, with about 3 minutes left, Manning mounted a drive to the Patriots' red zone. The QB completed 7 of 9 passes and got his offense all the way to the Patriots' 8-yard line. But a terrific James Sanders deflection on Dallas Clark resulted in the Colts having to kick for the field goal to end the half. So both teams headed into the tunnel with the Patriots holding a 15-point lead. Peyton Manning and company knew they had to make some serious adjustments and get off to a fast start if they had any hopes of turning the game around. On top of that, they really needed to get their run game going as they only managed a combined 30 rush yards in the first half. The third quarter got underway with Terrence Wilkins returning the ball for 25 yards while getting absolutely hammered in the process from Larry Izzo. With the Colts offense on the field, running back Dominic Rhodes began to move the ball as he grabbed a couple first down with his legs, and later Manning found Marvin Harrison by the sidelines for a pickup of 13. From the Patriots 33 and on 3rd and 5, Peyton did a good job finding Reggie Wayne for a crucial first down, and the offense was now in the red zone. After a couple rushes from Joseph Adai all the way to New England's goal line, Peyton Manning from 3rd and goal got in the end zone with a quarterback sneak, and Indianapolis were now only trailing by 1 score. And to top it all off, the Colts came up huge as they forced Brady into a 3-and-out and got their offense the ball back. After a 25-yard punt return from Dallas Clark from their own 49, Indianapolis continued to put pressure on Belichick's defense. First, a 19-yard run from Dominic Rhodes set up Peyton Manning with a throw in the end zone to Reggie Wayne. However, Ellis Hobbs was flagged for a PI call as he did not play the football. This then set up Peyton on the 1-yard line, and he hit the most unlikeliest of targets in Dan Klitko, a defensive tackle who came in for these unique short yardage situations. With the home team now down by 1, Tony Dungy made an ambitious decision as he took a chance and kept the offense in to go for the tie. And just like that, this game was now all squared at 21 apiece. While momentum started to turn in favor of the Colts, with their offense and defense now firing on all cylinders, everything would come to a crashing halt after Ellis Hobbs returned Adam Vinatieri's kick for 80 yards, making up for his flag early on the Colts' last possession. So, starting from the 21-yard line, Brady hit Jabbar Gaffney for 17 yards, and on 2nd and goal, hit Rashae Caldwell in what surely looked to be the go-ahead touchdown. However, the receiver had the football slip right through his hands, and you knew as he trotted back into the huddle, he had the expression of a player who knew his time with Tom Brady and the Patriots was simply over. But luckily for the receiver, Brady connected with Gaffney in the end zone for the touchdown and the lead. That being said, the Indianapolis Colts then answered back immediately on their next possession. Manning completed a couple passes to Dominic Rhodes, and then later connected with Dallas Clark down the left sideline for 23 yards. And then from 2nd and goal, another unlikely Colts player would score a touchdown as Rhodes rushed the ball in, only to fumble, with center Jeff Saturday landing on the football and securing the 6 points early in the 4th quarter. The game was all tied up again with about 13 minutes left in the game and everything on the line. The defense for both sides began to tighten up as both teams went 3-and-out on the next couple drives. With about 10 minutes left, Tom orchestrated a nice drive, starting with a couple long passes to Jabbar Gaffney and Troy Brown and getting all the way to the Colts' red zone. And on the very next play, as both sides lined up, you could hear commentators yelling that no one was covering the receiver up top, Rashae Caldwell.
Nobody's covering the receiver up top.
He is
Tom
wide
Brady
open.
see it, nobody.
Absolutely wide open on the right side.
He
It's
sees him
Caldwell,
finally.
and he drops it again.
My guess is no matter what the outcome of this Patriots drive was, Rashae Caldwell had little to no chance of surviving off-season cuts. He'd actually have one more chance to redeem himself from the 10-yard line on 3rd and 7 as Brady tossed it to Caldwell in the end zone, but the receiver was unable to come down with the football. And in the end, it felt like the Patriots wasted this drive as they had to settle for the 3 points. Peyton from his own 23 found Clark again down the middle for 52 yards, and after coming just short of a first down on 3rd and 5, the Colts brought out Vinatieri again to tie the ball game at 31 apiece. As time began to wind down, nerves were probably settling in as a mistake at this point in the game would be very costly. And on the next ensuing play, Ellis Hobbs once again stole the show as he returned the kick for 41 yards. Tom then found a wide open Daniel Graham for a pickup of 25 yards, however the Colts defense came up big on the next few plays and Brady and company settled for the field goal instead and took a 3-point lead with less than 4 minutes remaining. Manning would go 3-and-out on his next possession as Belichick's D really started to bring down the pressure on the QB. He wasn't afforded a lot of time in the pocket and their DBs were really closing the space with Manning's receivers. And it looked as if we were witnessing another meltdown from Peyton Manning in a playoff game against the Patriots. Tony Dungy's defense had to come up big on the next New England drive and make sure there was going to be enough time left on the clock. And that's precisely what they did, as Tom didn't fare much better either and proceeded to go 3-and-out himself and was almost even picked off from Bob Sanders. So Peyton had one last chance to score with 2:17 remaining in the game and with one timeout left. A field goal ties the game up, and a touchdown would give you a 4-point lead. From his own 20, Manning hit Reggie Wayne for 11 yards by the sidelines, and then while facing the blitz, found tight end Brian Fletcher for a gain of 32. Right before the 2-minute mark, Peyton threw a short pass to Reggie, who ran the ball down the middle and almost fumbled possession as the ball was popped in the air. Nonetheless, there was a roughing the passer penalty, which now saw the Colts knocking on the Patriots' doorstep. And a couple runs from Joseph Adai led to a 3-yard TD run on 3rd and goal, giving the Colts the lead for the very first time in the ballgame with just a minute remaining. And while we've seen the same script over the years, Tom Brady had one last chance to make a heroic comeback. Brady got a couple first downs after hitting Ben Watson and Heath Evans and moved the offense into Colts territory. And you could see Peyton on the sidelines really squirming as the game was out of his control. He had to simply sit by and watch and hope that Tom didn't make a comeback again. The Patriots used their second timeout, and with 24 seconds left, Brady's pass down the middle was picked off by Marlon Jackson and the game was finally over. And it's at this moment you can get a glimpse of Peyton Manning's reaction from the sideline as he was soaking in the moment. He finally beat Tom Brady in a playoff game and booked his first trip to the Super Bowl and had a chance to really cement his legacy in NFL lore. Leading up to Super Bowl 41, the quarterback many doubted silenced all his naysayers as he led the Colts to a 29-17 win over the Chicago Bears, marking the first of 2 career Super Bowl titles.